Hey Flower Tribe, it's Kelly Lehman and Lucy Lehman, and I want to give you a hydrangea pruning update from my last live video that I just made. So one of our Flower Tribe members, her name is Patty, sent in a comment about the live video that I did I guess like a half an hour ago. And it's a great comment, and she had some really great questions in it, so I'm going to answer those. I'm kind of like the annoying person at work or on the PTA that comes to you live like every half an hour. Today, I think I did 3 live videos in the last 3 hours. So check those out if you like. Sorry if the notification bell is like ringing off the charts today, but I have so many tips that I want to share with you. So Patty's question was, when I pruned back this endless summer hydrangea, I had a lot of winter damage on it. So those of you that didn't see the video, here's what happened before. I'll give like a very quick recap. I had a whole bunch of endless summer hydrangeas that are in this row, and they had loads and loads of winter damage. And I normally do not prune back my endless summer at this time of year. You can watch that past video to let you know why. But what I did do was I told, the Flower Tribe how I come in here and I do get rid of those dead branches that clearly have signs of winter damage on them. So that means that there's no more growth on them. Here it is May in my New Jersey Planting Hardiness Zone 6 garden. And at this point, my endless summer, my other mop heads, my Nikos should look more like this, because that's the beautiful growth coming on the old wood that was put in place last season. And these are going to be my flowers for this year. But these branches that were that old growth from last year, they had all the buds frozen off because we had a big snowstorm. It was freezing here in March, and all that new growth was actually like zapped right off. So instead of leaving these dead branches in place, I was showing how I removed them. And what I was doing was I was coming in here, I was cutting off all of these old branches, and Patty made a really good observation. She said, well, if they're dead, why are you leaving like 4 or 5 or 6 inches of the branch in place? And it was a great observation, because I shouldn't have been leaving them in place. The reason I left them in place was because I'm kind of juggling my camera in one hand, and for me to get down low is, kind of it's like a feat, and I was afraid I was going to be cutting off some of these green leaves when I got in there. But she's right. I didn't have to leave 5 or 6 inches of this in place by any means. There's no reason for that, because this stem is dead. And she also mentioned, well, when I did that to my plant, why was it white inside? Why wasn't it green? And the reason why it's white inside is because it's dead. That shows that there's no green inside here. Green is a sign of life. And since there's no green in here, there's no reason in the world why I can't just cut this dead branch back all the way at the base. But you have to be careful when you're doing that, because it's not worth the expense of nicking some of these new blooms. So I would cut it just like a little bit above. But you can actually see, now this is interesting, there's some green growth towards the bottom of this stem. So that means that I'm probably going to wind up getting like maybe some more growth off there later on, but the parts that were white, that wasn't serving the plant. So it's okay to kind of cut it back to a spot where you see that it's white. Sometimes they're just dead all the way through. So sometimes it's all the way dead to the base of the plant, and that stem's just kind of had it. So I'm going to show you what this plant, she said it would have been helpful if I would have showed you guys what the plant looked like from the last video when it was completely cleaned up the proper way. And so I did that. So I want to serve you guys best. I want to make sure I don't give you, any kind of like bad advice. So I came in here when I had my camera away from me, and I cleaned up that plant completely. So this is what it looks like now. You can tell I cut back, like when I left you off in the last video, I had a ton of these, it looked like this, because I didn't want you guys to get bored with me, kind of clipping, because it took a while. But this is what it looks like completely cleaned up. And some of these, these stems I left in place because when I cut them down, they were still pretty much dead from here up, but I noticed some new growth on the bottom. So I cut it just above that new growth. And so this one too, this one's got some new growth on it here, but that stem was completely dead. It was white, white, white all the way up. And you can tell, like, look at the haircut that I gave it. This is all the leftovers here. So I cut all of those dead branches off. They all had winter zap. They got that freeze, and it just froze them all off. But but Patty was right. I had showed it before. Like, I left a whole bunch of these. They looked like this in the last video. Like, they were still like this tall. And there was no reason for that. You can cut them off as long as they're dead, as long as they're white like that. You can cut them down all the way to the base if you want to. But if you start seeing some of that green growth on them, then leave them alone. Like, this plant's going to give me beautiful, beautiful flowers in a few weeks. And I'm also noticing that the shape of my plant is a little wonky now. So I only had 2 of the branches from last year's old wood kind of survive that winter frost. And they gave me these really nice leaves, and they're going to give me nice flowers. But you know what? The design of this hydrangea is a little wonky right now, because what's going to happen is it almost looks like it's the little engine that could, like it's trying really hard, but it's probably not going to get there. So I think instead of having just these two kind of weird branches sticking up, I think I'm just going to wind up cutting them off. But I don't know. I might put them in some water and try to get some roots from them, which takes forever. I don't know if you guys have any luck with propagating hydrangeas, and usually it's easier to propagate a hydrangea plant when it has like a green stem, like this new one down here. This is coming from that new growth from the base of the plant. So I don't know if I'm going to have any luck with propagating this, but I'll give it a try. I'll let you guys know what happens. So I'm probably going to cut that off. I need a sharper tool to get in here. This guy's not going to do the trick. So, but this is what the plant looks like when it's completely, done. I went in there, I cut most of them from the base, and I was careful not to get too far. Like, you don't have to get too crazy. Like, to get this one from the base would have meant I would have went in there with my pruners, and I would have went in there and, been around all these leaves. And I don't want to go there. Like, it's not necessary. It's not, that important that I get it all the way to the base, because I might have then nicked all of this new growth, and that would have not been a good thing. So, Patty, thank you for your question. I appreciate that. And guys, I base all of my videos off of the Flower Tribe's questions, and I'm also going to try to make a podcast out of this one. So thank you, Jamie Ray. You sent in the original question that asked about that, about that winter frost on your hydrangeas and whether or not you're allowed to prune them off at this time of year. So thank you for that. And guys, I'll see you in the next live video, and I'll try to keep these short, fast videos coming your way. Okay, please leave me any questions or comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.